There are nights when your soul feels too heavy for this world. Nights when you stare into the darkness and wonder why everyone else seems to find love so easily while your heart remains untouched, unseen, forgotten. You smile in public, but deep inside, there is a silent ache, an ache that nobody understands. You have prayed, you have waited, you have stayed loyal, you have tried to love people who only came to break you. And somewhere along the journey, you started asking God one painful question. Why am I always alone? But what if your loneliness was never punishment? What if it was preparation? Because chosen people walk through seasons that ordinary people cannot understand. God isolates the people He is preparing. And maybe, just maybe, the reason your love story has not happened yet is because heaven is still writing it. You were never meant for temporary love. You were never created for shallow connections. You were never designed for people who only wanted your body while ignoring your soul. Know your futures. Spouse is not just another relationship. They are part of your assignment, part of your destiny, part of the kingdom purpose attached to your life. That is why the enemy fought your heart so hard. That is why betrayal followed you. That is why people left. That is why you experienced abandonment when all you ever gave was loyalty. Because darkness attacks what heaven values. The enemy knew that if you ever connected with the person God designed for you, your union would become powerful, dangerous, anointed. And now, while you are crying over delays, God is protecting something sacred. Listen carefully. Some people entered relationships too early and lost themselves. Some married people who destroyed their peace. Some ignored spiritual warnings because they were afraid to be alone. But God kept interrupting your connections, not because He forgot you, because He remembered who you are. You are chosen, and people go through divine separation before divine connection. Right now, while you think nothing is happening, heaven is moving pieces you cannot see. God is healing your future spouse. God is preparing their heart. God is teaching them lessons. God is removing people from their life, just like He removed people from yours. Somewhere in this world, another soul is also crying. Another soul is also praying. Another soul is also asking God why they had to walk through so much pain. And they have no idea that their future is connected to yours. This is why your season feels strange. You are outgrowing people. You are becoming quieter. You are craving peace more than attention. You no longer feel comfortable in fake environments. Your spirit is changing because you are getting closer, closer to the life God promised, closer to the love heaven approved, closer to the connection that will not confuse your soul. The relationship God sends will not constantly make you beg for clarity. It will bring peace, not chaos, Daliy, not confusion. And yes, there will still be challenges. But this love will push you toward purpose instead of destruction. Your future spouse will recognize your heart, not just your appearance. They will see the battles you survived without needing long explanations, because people chosen by God recognize each other differently. Spirit speaks to spirit. And when that moment finally comes, all the waiting will make sense. You will realize why certain doors closed, why certain people betrayed you, why God delayed relationships you begged Him to save, because some people were only lessons. But your future spouse is part of your destiny. So stop believing the lie that you are hard to love. You are not difficult to love. You were simply called to something deeper. And deep souls rarely find shallow connections satisfying. God is not ignoring your tears. Every lonely night, He saw you. Every silent prayer, He heard you. Every heartbreak he counted, and while you thought your life was falling apart, heaven was protecting your future. One day, you will sit beside the person God prepared for you. And your soul will finally exhale, not because they are perfect, but because their presence will feel familiar to your spirit, like answered prayer, like destiny, like home. And in that moment, you will understand something powerful. The waiting season did not destroy you, it transformed you. So do not rush this process. Do not settle because you are tired of being alone. Do not chase people who cannot recognize your value. The people sent by God never require you to abandon yourself to keep them. Your future spouse is being prepared with the same care God is using to prepare you. This is not coincidence. This is divine timing. And divine timing never arrives late, it arrives exactly when your soul is ready. So hold on, keep healing, keep praying, keep becoming, because somewhere beyond this lonely chapter, your story is changing. The tears will not last forever. The waiting will not last forever. The silence will not last forever. God is preparing your future spouse. And when heaven finally brings both of you together, nothing will be able to stop what was written by destiny. There is a painful truth that most people never understand. Sometimes the greatest sign that God is preparing something extraordinary for your life is isolation, not popularity, not attention, not constant companionship, isolation. And if you are honest, this season has felt painfully lonely. People disappeared. Friendships changed. Conversations became empty. Even rooms full of people started feeling cold. You tried to explain this feeling to others, but they could not understand, because spiritually chosen people experience separation before elevation. God removes noise before revelation. And maybe that is exactly what has been happening in your life. Maybe heaven has been pulling you away from people because your spirit cannot carry your future while still attached to your past. Think about everything you survived, the betrayals, the abandonment, the people who promised forever but vanished when life became difficult. At the time, it broke your heart, but now you are beginning to realize something deeper. Not everyone who left was meant to stay. Some people were assignments, others were distractions, and a few were spiritual tests. But your future spouse, they are different. That connection will not be built on manipulation. It will not survive on temporary attraction. It will not depend on masks, because God is preparing a kingdom connection, and kingdom connections require purification. That is why your old life had to collapse. You thought God was taking things from you, but He was actually making space. Space for peace. Space for purpose. Space for the person who will walk beside you instead of draining your spirit. The dangerous thing about loneliness is that it tempts people to settle. And maybe you almost did. Maybe there were moments when you accepted less than you deserved because you were tired of waiting. You ignored red flags. You tolerated disrespect. You convinced yourself that partial love was enough. But every time you tried to force something unhealthy, your spirit felt exhausted, because your soul was rejecting what your loneliness was trying to accept. Chosen people often confuse spiritual protection with rejection. You cried over people God removed. You begged heaven to restore relationships that were poisoning your peace. And when God stayed silent, you thought He abandoned you. But silence is not abandonment. Sometimes silence is protection. Imagine if every person you wanted had stayed. Imagine how much damage they would have caused in your future. Some people would have destroyed your confidence. Some would have distracted your purpose. Some would have shattered your faith. And God knew it. That is why he closed doors you kept trying to reopen. Because your future spouse is not just someone attractive. They are someone spiritually aligned. There is a difference. Attraction can happen instantly, but alignment is sacred. Alignment means both souls are growing toward purpose. Alignment means both people survived darkness without losing their faith. Alignment means both hearts learned obedience through pain. That kind of connection cannot be rushed, it must be prepared. And preparation always feels uncomfortable. Look at your life right now. You are changing. The things that once entertained you no longer satisfy you. You crave depth. You crave peace. You crave authenticity. You are becoming emotionally stronger, not because life was easy, but because suffering forced growth. Every betrayal taught discernment. Every disappointment taught wisdom. Every lonely season taught dependence on God. You are not who you used to be, and neither is your future spouse. Right now, while you are listening to these words, God is transforming another person somewhere in the world. Maybe they also survived heartbreak. Maybe they also trusted the wrong people. Maybe they also cried themselves to sleep, asking God why love always seemed painful. But heaven is working on both of you simultaneously. That is the mystery of divine timing. God develops souls separately before bringing them together. Because if he united you too early, both of you would destroy what was meant to become sacred. Immature love creates chaos. Prepared love creates peace. That is why this waiting season matters. It is not empty, it is sacred training. And here is something most people never talk about. The enemy attacks chosen relationships before they even begin. That explains why your heart experienced so much warfare. The enemy wanted you bitter. The enemy wanted you hopeless. The enemy wanted you so damaged that when real love finally arrived, you would sabotage it. But you survived even after heartbreak, even after abandonment, even after emotional exhaustion. You still have faith. And that faith is dangerous to darkness, because healed people carry light. Your future relationship will not just bless you emotionally, it will shift generations. The love God is preparing will heal wounds created long before you were born, cycles of abuse, cycles of betrayal, cycles of emotional emptiness. You are the one chosen to break them. That is why your journey feels heavier than other people's, because your assignment is greater. You were never meant to repeat dysfunctional patterns. You were called to transform them. And transformation requires isolation. God had to pull you away from people who normalize toxicity. He had to separate you from environments that rewarded superficiality. He had to teach you how to stand alone before teaching you how to stand beside the right person. Because if you cannot survive alone with God, you will eventually depend on relationships more than truth. And dependence on people always creates suffering. This season is teaching you spiritual stability. So when your future spouse finally arrives, you will not worship them. You will love them correctly. That matters. Many people enter relationships searching for rescue. But your future spouse is not coming to rescue you. They are coming to walk beside the healed version of you. That is why God keeps working on your heart, the hidden insecurities, the fear of abandonment, the wounds from childhood, the trust issues created by betrayal. God is exposing everything that could poison your future connection. And healing is painful because healing forces honesty. You cannot heal what you continue pretending does not hurt. So heaven allowed isolation not to destroy you, but to reveal you. In loneliness, masks fall. You discover what truly controls your heart. You discover your fears. You discover your attachments. You discover your hidden pain, and slowly, through tears, prayer, and silence, God rebuilds you. That rebuilding process is preparing you for love that will not collapse under pressure. The relationship God sends will require maturity, not perfection. Maturity. Because two broken people without healing create destruction, but two surrendered people create peace. And maybe that is why this season feels holy. Painful, but holy. You can feel your spirit changing. You no longer chase validation the same way. You no longer beg people to stay. You no longer tolerate confusion disguised as love. That is growth. That is transformation. And transformation is evidence that God is preparing your future. One day, your future spouse will hear your story. They will hear about the nights you cried, the moments you almost gave up, the silent battles nobody knew you were fighting, and instead of judging your scars, they will honor them, because they carry scars too. Both of you will recognize the fingerprints of God on each other's survival. That connection will feel different, not rushed, not forced, not manipulative, peaceful. There will be safety in the conversation, safety in the silence, safety in the honesty, and suddenly all the loneliness that once felt unbearable will make sense. You will understand why God kept saying no, because heaven was protecting a yes powerful enough to change your life. So stop mourning every closed door. Some doors closed because your destiny could not fit through them. Stop believing your isolation means you are forgotten. Chosen people are often hidden before they are revealed. And right now, God is hiding you from distractions while preparing you for destiny. You are not behind. You are not cursed. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared. And preparation always happens in hidden places. So trust this season, even when it hurts. Even when it feels lonely. Even when the waiting becomes exhausting. Because one day, the person God prepared for you will walk into your life. And your spirit will recognize something familiar. Not because you knew them before, but because heaven already aligned both journeys. Until then, keep becoming who God called you to be. Keep healing, keep growing, keep protecting your peace. Because the love meant for you will not require self-betrayal. It will arrive as confirmation. And when it does, you will finally understand why God isolated you first. There is something mysterious about divine connections. Before two people ever meet, heaven often begins weaving their stories together in silence. And while you have been wondering if anyone will ever truly understand your heart, somewhere in this world, another soul has been carrying the same ache. Your future spouse is not a fantasy. They are real. They have cried real tears. They have survived real betrayals. They have walked through nights where they questioned everything. And maybe, without realizing it, they have already prayed for someone exactly like you. This is what makes divine timing so powerful. God prepares both hearts separately before revealing the connection. Because if two souls meet before spiritual maturity, timing can destroy what destiny intended to bless. That is why waiting matters. You thought the delay meant rejection, but heaven calls it preparation. Look back at your life. Notice how every painful experience shaped you. The betrayal taught discernment. The loneliness taught dependence on God. The heartbreak taught emotional depth. The silence taught inner strength. Nothing was wasted. Even your tears carried purpose. And the same thing is happening in your future spouse's life right now. God is teaching them lessons. God is exposing false relationships. God is healing wounds they tried to hide. Because the connection He is preparing requires two transformed souls. Not perfect souls, transformed souls. There is a difference. Perfection is impossible.